Okay, here we have the situation 3x squared minus 21x is equal to 0. Now lately we've just been factoring. Those were expressions. This is an equation. The difference between an expression and an equation is the equal sign. Okay? That equal sign. Once you see one of those, that means you've got an equation. Without it, you just have an expression. Okay? So the equal sign makes it an equation. Right, let's get rid of that. But remember that. Okay? When there's an equal sign, you've got an equation. You can solve that, which means basically you've got to find what x is. Either we're going to do that this way. We're going to use factoring though to solve it. Okay, so we'll go through it the same way we did the last time. Step, I think we called it A, B, C, D, and E the last time. So step A was to write out the greatest common factor of 3 and 21, the factors of the numbers. So the factors of 3 are 1 and 3. The factors of 21 are 1 and 21 and 3 and 7. Now the biggest number that appears in both of these lines here, if we look at these groups, is obviously 3. Okay, you've got a 3 there and a 3 there. You also have a 1 on each line, but you pick the biggest. You only pick the biggest. So the GCF of the numbers, 3 and 21, is 3. Okay, so move on to step B. And step B is to write out the letter that appears in each term, 3x squared minus 21x. So we go back and we look at the question. The letter that appears in both, x appears in both terms. X appears in both terms. And the smallest power of x that we have there is just x. Okay. Now, step C. In step C, we put our answers from A and B together. So, and that will give us the GCF of the entire expression. So the GCF of the entire expression is 3x. And again, we've taken a long way to get there. You're probably, maybe you're not yet, but you will be able to get to the stage where you can just look at the original expression and say, okay, 3 is the greatest common factor, and there's an x in each part, so 3x. So you'll be able to get there immediately. In step 4, we divide each of the original terms. So 3x squared and minus 21x, we divide them by what we got in step C, which was 3x. Okay, so we're going to divide both of those original terms by 3x. And let's, for continuity, go back and make this a D. Okay, looks a little bit better. Okay, now if we do that division, 3 divided by 3 is 1, x squared divided by x is just x, minus 21 divided by 3 is 7. And the x's here, they will cancel because it's x on top and x on the bottom, so they just cancel. So it's 1x minus 7. We're going to change that to x minus 7 in a moment. And then the last step, step E, is we take the answer we just got, x minus 7, and we'll make it x minus 7 now. It's okay if you want to leave it as 1x, but generally we'll make it x minus 7. And we put the answer from step C, the GCF, we put that in front. So we have 3x times x minus 7. Now what that means is we're saying that 3x squared minus 21x, which we had originally, 3x squared minus 21x, is exactly the same, can be written as 3x times x minus 7. They're written two different ways, but they're exactly the same value. So one is the same as the other. 3x squared minus 21x, the original question, is the same as 3x times x minus 7. Now that's the part we've done already. The new part is to solve the equation. Okay, so if we solve the equation now, it was, this is the new part. So the original thing was 3x squared minus 21x equals 0. That was the original question. And now what we're saying instead is that 3x squared minus 21x is the same as 3x times x minus 7. So we write it that way. Okay, so write it the new way. And then split this up so that we have 3x and x minus 7. Put each of them equal to 0. Okay, so put each of them equal to 0. This can only happen if you have 0 on the right. Only works if 0 is on the right. Never try it for anything else. Okay, never try this technique for anything else, ever. It only ever works if 0 is on the right. If there's anything else on the right, not only can you not do it because it might not be right, it's definitely not right. Okay? So 3x equals 0. If we want to find out what x is, that's 3x, so just divide both sides by 3. And we get 3x divided by 3 equals 0. Well, the 3's will cancel. That's over 3, of course. The 3's will cancel here, and so you get x is equal to 0 divided by 3, but 0 divided by anything is just 0. So x is equal to 0. Now you got x on its own, you're finished. And this one, x take away 7 equals 0. So what we can do is we can add 7, or we can bring the negative 7 over to the other side, or if you like, it's okay to add 7 to both sides. You know the way that I taught you is to move the number across. So as we move it across, minus 7, we change its sign, so minus 7 becomes plus 7, so we get x equals 7. And similarly, if we do it the other way over here, we get x minus 7 plus 7 is 0, 0 plus 7 is 7. So we get it that way as well. But you can see that there are two answers. Okay, two solutions. X equals 0 and x equals 7 are both solutions. Now x can't be both values at the same time. But if it's either of those values, if x is either of those values, then this expression, 3x squared minus 21x, will give you 0. Okay, so that's what we had to do. Take your time with it. It's a little bit long, so take your time with it. Break it down into various steps. Go through the factoring. Put each of the factors equal to 0. So you split up your factors, put each of them equal to 0, and you use the techniques that you already know to find x. Okay, we'll do another example now in a moment.